Here's on the car, how's it going? Okay. Engineer UP train Mike Golf Romeo November Yankee Lead Unit Union Pacific 7382 to Laramie Subdivision Dispatcher. We're tied on to our train at Laramie Yard and ready to pull eastbound. Laramie Subdivision Dispatcher to Union Pacific Mike Golf Romeo November Yankee. I have a westbound stack lead unit 3897 approaching Laramie on main track 2. Once he's cleared subject signal indications, you can enter the main line and proceed east via main track 1. Dispatch out. Have a medium difficulty on the brakes, because why not? Got lights on, we've got lights on, look at this. Let's just see what's going on here. Clear. Oh, interesting. So that signal is actually saying I'm clear to go out. Well, I'm not, because that's what Jock's saying correctly. Unless that's not for me. That's the red for me. Here we go. That's the stack train. We've got ditch lights on this one, have we? Oh, we probably do actually, don't we? There we go. We've got ditch lights now. I'll wait for him to clear the switch over here, and then before we can get that out, so cool our heels. Well, he ain't hanging around, is he? Right, we're clear. Brakes off yet, coming off. Brake cylinders at 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Tabby cat. That's definitely the king of all cats, isn't it? Yep, clear on the main. Shut that noise up. I'm going to do a stream tutorial for making weather instead of the blog post. I think I did BNSF, but honestly the blog post is a lot easier to understand. Secondary route pulls us over here. Still in the 15 limit for the time being. Oh right, the thing is BNSF is such a, we'll say a fringe interest thing that it's not really suitable for the stream. If I get the time I might do something as a dedicated video, but I don't think I'll be doing it as a stream because almost everybody that watches it will just look at it, their eyes will glaze over and they'll think, why am I seeing this? Right, go via Hermosa Main 1 in 16.7 miles. Notch up a little bit, fill out, speed up to 15. Your eyes are always glazed over, Moggy, don't give me that. The only time your eyes aren't glazed over is when they brighten up at the sight of an ice lolly. And is the chat uploaded to YouTube? Yeah, everything that you can see on the screen gets uploaded to YouTube. I can't filter that. What you're seeing is what's recorded by Twitch. Tyron 1, working on your second standard scenario. Superb. Be a little while yet before we can speed up because we've got the full length of the train. This is manifest, hence the M at the beginning of the symbol. Yeah, too late again, Mum. That was the engine number. Let's have a look, shall we? Lead unit is 7382. Made a bit smaller, Ed. Well, I'm not sure where to put it, to be perfectly honest. Anywhere I put it, it's going to obstruct it, unless I make the game window smaller. Get rid of my camera. Put the chat there. There you go. Solve all the problems at once. That's good, Tyron 1. Making scenarios is really good. Have you actually forgotten the other cold? No, I haven't forgotten I have a cold, trust me. Right, 40 limit, gently notch up, take up the slack and get this thing moving. Amtrak lovers seen this one in real life. Yeah, let's turn the cab light off, shall we? I keep forgetting you've got to turn the cab light off. What is the frame rate? 27, 29. With it on, oh god, yeah. Doubles the frame rate, turn the cab light off. Hey there, speedy little guy. Much appreciated, much appreciated. Yeah, I'm feeling better now. Not 100%, but 98. Life goes on, life goes on. That's not a bad idea, Ed, but then I think I'll be covering up the information on the HUD. And I think, I don't know, what does everyone think? If I was to put it down, down here, put the chat down here, what does everyone think about that? That would cover up this bit, essentially. You know, it would be beneath the chat. You'd still be able to see it, but it would be it would get it out of the game window, gently notching up, bring the speed up, no rush. I ask people whether they prefer British Airways or Virgin Atlantic. I've flown both and I prefer to fly Virgin Atlantic anyway. Anyone flew British Airways, certainly when I flew it, it's the bog standard minimal airline I've ever flown. Except Ryanair. Turn the HUD off and put chat there instead. Yeah, right. Yes, I've flown Emirates, French Starling, and they are my favourite airline of the lot. In fact, I've flown Emirates. I went to Australia 4 or 5 times, and 3 of those times with Emirates, and they were blissful flights. They were amazing. One flight I had to get British Airways and then Qantas, and it was awful. I can't remember what the other one was. Most of the time I was able to get Emirates, though. It was just oh, JAL was the first one. That was horrific. Mostly because they don't make their seats for big people. The airline was fine, but the seats weren't quite as generously proportioned. No, French Starling, it was Emirates to Dubai, then Emirates to Australia. Emirates all the way. They were using Airbuses. And it was their big Airbus that went on the Dubai to Australia leg. That was lovely. What's it at the moment? Green light, high ball. Hey there, Dean. Oh, I'm feeling much better. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah, I've never flown Cathay French. Never flown one of those. I mean, I haven't done an awful lot of flying around. I did Virgin Atlantic to America. United were actually, but I don't think United existed anymore. But when they were around, they were my favourite airline to America. One we flew with those, it was very good. No, it wasn't the A380, it was one of the big A340s. This was before the A380 came out. You can't hear me very well over the training. I shall turn my microphone up. How is that? Oh, the problem is now we can hear you. United is still around. Oh, excellent. The Guppy. Oh yeah, that's a big one. World's longest flight from Sydney to Dallas Fort Worth at 16 hours 55. You know what? If the airline is good and they look after you and the entertainment on board is good, or you've got enough, you've got tablets and things, it's not bad. I actually got to the point where I didn't mind the flights to Australia at all. Particularly when I was with Emirates, it was really good. Yeah, we do seem to be driving on the left, don't we? But I think in some American routes, ends are bi-directional. 12.7 miles for Mozart. little bit on the snoozy side, are you, Coplock? Still a flyby, seems to be doing alright for, that's better. If I get the mouse in the right place, it'll do what I want it to do. Do Emirates have new films on board, not on DVD yet? I'm sure when I was on there were films that were not long in cinema even. Lots of mixed bag stuff, hence why it's a manifest. That clears the pipes out, it sounds gross. Did I ever travel on Concorde? Who do you think I am? No. I saw a video of a 14L almost exactly at that speed, so I don't feel bad about doing it like that. Really quite surprised. Yeah, Dubai International is a superb airport. Very quick as well. One of the things I really liked about Emirates was that they kept the links to the absolute minimum. I know one time, one of my flights there, my link was 90 minutes. So from landing and getting off the plane to getting on the next one, oops, forgot that 14 now entirely, and getting on the next plane was just 90 minutes. And during that time, you've got to do the international arrival and departure stuff, and which is yeah, basically running from one end of the airport to the other end of the airport, which sounds unpleasant. Actually, after you've been sat down for 9 hours, it's really good. You know, by the time you get sat down at the other end, you've stretched your legs. It worked really well. Oh, I was, you know, ready for a nap. A little bit stressful, but Most of the time it wasn't quite that bad. It was, but you never had to sit down and wait. Well, not for long anyway, which was really good because some of the ones, I think when I went with VA Qantas, I think it was something like a 7-hour wait or something daft like that. No, I've never actually been out of the airport at Dubai, for example. I've been to lots of places at the airport and no other where. Dominic said has never been on a plane. What? Oh, whistle board. I've been to New York or Vegas. Closest I've been to New York is Newark Airport. We flew through Newark to get to Tennessee. But I've never actually been to New York. Seen it. Looked out the window of the airport and said, that's New York. Still to go. Keep going. All of my planes came out of London, but then I was based in London at the time anyway, Prince Darling. B9.1, this is in Wyoming in the United States. This is a place called Sherman Hill. We're on our way to Laramie, aren't we? I think. Pick up at Laramie and is ready to proceed eastward. So boring. Oh, I don't know. Cheyenne, or is this Laramie? This is Laramie, so we're bound for Cheyenne, but we're not getting there. We're only going to Borry. Stack train in the other direction. I tell you what, Ed, take a look. I think this is weird. Take a look at Tehachapi Pass. In the summer, it's a desert. It looks like a desert. In the winter, for a short period, it's covered in snow. And then in the spring, it's lush and green like Mariah's Pass. It's absolutely bizarre. 3 completely different colours on that route. In fact, I've got a photograph I downloaded from rrpictures.net, I think it was, which actually in the near of the camera is all snowy, frosty and ice, and then in the distance it's green because it's lower down, I think. I can't remember what the other one was. Oh, it was Jowl, sorry, French Starling. It was Jowl via Narita. I think that was Jowl both legs. The BA Qantas, I think, went through Thailand or Bangkok. I think it was Bangkok, something like that. Jowl went through. What is SWAT called then? Oh, Tehachapi Pass. Sorry, Ed. Tehachapi Pass. Well, you know what? If they're the only way to get somewhere, then I'm not going to, you do it. But if I have other options, I generally try and find them. Pasting some links to various images I'm googling for Tehachapi Pass at different times of the year. It's just a stunning route with such variety throughout the year. Lush green, harsh yellow, deep snow. Still maintaining a good speed, 40.2, 4 miles to Hermosa Main 1 West, which is our first waypoint, and then we're on to Dale Junction. Cheers, Kevrev. Is there an autumnal season? I don't think so. Essentially, the way that it works is that it's sort of almost like on a cusp. So in the winter, everything gets regenerated, and then in the spring it's very damp, and so you get new grass growing. So you get a very green, very new grass. But then what happens is that shortly after the spring starts and the grass starts growing, the sun takes over, which burns everything to a crisp. You get this yellow effect. And then you get the very wet winter, which starts off with snow and then gives you the dew and the rain after, which gives you the so it's really hot summers and really wet winters, and cold winters, which is what makes them snowy. So I imagine it just looks awful in the autumn, to be honest, because it's going to be sort of dead yellow, wet. 39.5 coming up on another signal. We have them able to carry on. Cheers, Kevrev. I already said goodbye, didn't I? Yeah, Keddy is definitely beautiful, isn't it, Jeff? like to go in particular? Not really, to be honest. I've never really had much of a wanderlust for travelling. Sort of I enjoy when I go places, but I don't seem to miss it either. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Exeter. It's Tehachapi is green in the spring. It looks beautiful. But when you see most people, when you see pictures of it, it looks sort of like a deserty, arid sort of place. When I looked into it more, it was when I realised that there's so much more to it. In fact, I was speaking to a couple of American enthusiasts who were sort of educating me in the incorrectness of my ways. Seems to be a right throttle point here. 14L at record speed. Never been to Paris? Nope. Boulogne is the closest I've been to that. My son wants to go to Paris because he wants to ride on the subway line there. I already know I've been to Australia, of course. Well, it's not all parts of the Paris Metro that use the tyres, it's just one of the lines, if I remember rightly. I've never been to Tottenham Bay, for instance, no. Yeah, the SD40 is one of my favourite classes, Lord Beaton 50. Jeff, why go to Paris when you've got the London Underground? Well, we've done the London Underground to death. We've done loads and loads and loads of trips on the Underground. That used to be a fun weekend out, was to go out and just ride the Underground for a day. Just to confuse the oyster no end, because it kind of expects you going somewhere. Hey Lord BT50, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Yeah, the underground oyster sort of assumes you're going somewhere, so when you don't ever actually go anywhere, it assumes that it basically charges you out of the you wouldn't believe it. So yeah, when we went back the next time, we learned our lesson, and we always go places now on the Underground. So we go in, get off, wait 5 minutes, and then go back on and go back in again. That way we don't get fined, or what seems like being fined, because it assumes that you're cheating the system. But we've done lots of day trips on the Underground. But yes, sorry, Lord VT, my favourite, I like the SD40s, because they're powerful, but they've still got a sort of a small, sort of manageable feel to them, whereas the ES44s, SD70s, they all feel a bit, they're so powerful it almost doesn't matter anymore. Whereas I like the character in the SD40s. I'm sure if I had to drive a real one I'd hate it, but that's never going to happen. To move this down. There you go. What's my favourite tube line? I don't know. Be the Northern or the Jubilee line, possibly. I quite enjoy a little ride on the Waterloo and City, to be honest. It's quite an interesting journey. It's short. Yeah, the Northern and Jubilee lines are alright, and I like the new Jubilee. JLE. I don't know. In fact, I can't remember what my son said his favourite. I think it's Piccadilly line. Wall and City is just too long. ADHD much. 2.23 to Dale Junction. The new guys probably couldn't drive the SD40s either. Assassin's got 43. How old am I? Older than 40. I'm officially over the hill. 16, yeah, really subject. Most embarrassing moment, you mean on the stream? It would be the steam engine tutorial when I forgot to do some really important things with the steam engine and blew it up. Hey Corey Taylor, I'm good, thank you. How are you? We'll have the rest of the train shoving us down the hill in a minute. I'm going to get ready on the dynamics. Most embarrassing moment in life? I've got no idea. I try not to think about things like that. Dynamics are spinning up. Have I ever travelled on the Pendolinos myself? Yeah, 2 or 3 times I've had to go up for various meetings. More and more of the train is now on the drop, so I'm going to employ more dynamics to keep speed mentioned. Liverpool Street to Paddington at rush hour. Oh yeah, no, that's not fun. That's what the Hammersmith or the Circle line, isn't it? The subsurface ones. No, Crossrail's not there yet. getting there though. It's the same here, Lord BT50. There's a lot less variety. There's also a lot less actual operation going on as well. You know, they instead of having loco hauled stock over here, it's where if you went and did some rail fanning on a station, you know, you'd see a train coming in, you'd then do some operations with other trains coming in, releasing it, and all. You know, it was quite interesting. Nowadays, it's all multiple units. Train comes in, train goes out, and that's all you got. That's really, and every train looks exactly the same. So, I must admit, I generally find train spotting these days to be a little on the boring side, just because the variety's not there anymore. Transitions are always an interesting period, though, when you change from one operator to another. So, every now and again, the franchises in the UK change hands. So, the East Coast Main Line changed from East Coast Railways to Virgin Trains East Coast, and so you end up with a small period of time where you've got different a mix of liveries, and if they bought stock in, it can be all manner of a mix-up, which is that adds a little bit of variety, because at least then you might see liveries or that you would never see. Where I grew up on the Great Eastern Main Line, when Anglia came on board, one of the things they did was they bought in a load of stock from the West Coast Main Line. So for a little while we had Virgin trains, strangely enough, on the or Virgin livery trains, albeit with the Virgin logo scratched out. So it was, yeah, it was very interesting. But it works for a little while and then it stops, because then everything's painted in the new livery and it's back to being everything the same again. I heard about these new trains then, so yeah. Right, I'm going to kill the dynamics at this point. We've got 10 miles an hour, we can speed up and let the gravity push us up the bottom of this hill, and then we'll engage the engine. In fact, we're already slowing down, so let's get the slack taken up. Oh yeah, Lord BT, yeah, absolutely, yeah. With, B&O, C&O, Conrail, Union Pacific, and Southern Pacific, I can imagine. I mean, I did a lot of research into the different railways and their heritage. I drew a massive family tree of the American railroad companies, because I was curious to see sort of what the storylines were and how what companies related to what. It was a really interesting exercise. I'm surprised there isn't, something like that more readily accessible. A pop-up rail, yeah, Gemel is currently operated by Abellio, but it's one of the more recent operators of it. Stop at the highball. Must be interesting being a West Coast Main Line driver switching the 87 to the 390. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Norfolk Southern, I have the biggest family tree, probably followed by Union Pacific. I'll have to dig out my the graph. It's not finished, but I covered an awful lot of it. I'm trying to remember who it was. I mean, the messiest one I think is CSX. The Conrail, the mess with Conrail, chassis, seaboard, and all that lot. I mean, that was a mess. Union Pacific, I think, was. I'm trying to remember whether that was how that one was. Yes, all the old companies are still, the contracts are still in play, Exeter HMS. It's like all the licences. You know, if you want to put a train out with a chassis system licence or a Northern Pacific licence, then you still need to get the licence. For example, Penn Central, New York, New Haven and Hartford Railroad. If you want that railroad, you want to put a train out with those licenses on, then you need to contact a company called American Premier Underwriters Incorporated, because American Premier Underwriters Incorporated is actually Penn Central. Penn Central, when they were a big railroad company, then they had the 1970s where all the railroad companies went bang. Conrail was then formed by the government to take on all the assets. All the assets of the railroad went across. But during when Penn Central was growing, they invested in a number of other companies, including American Premier Underwriters Incorporated. And at some point, Penn Central, having divested all of its assets, the railroad franchises, accesses, all the locos, the rest of the stock and everything, Penn Central then essentially rebranded itself as American Premier Underwriters. So it's the same company, but it's essentially there. So you need to contact APU if you want any of them. There's 3 licenses. Pennsylvania Railroad is the third one that are in there. So all these companies still exist. All the licenses still exist, and so it wouldn't surprise me if the contracts still exist as well. I think the one with the railway company I've always had the most respect for was BNSF. If you look through their history, it was James Hill's vision. He was constant throughout, and he built the railway company up, and it's got quite a clean history. And he built it up and merged it with companies that would contribute, and it just seemed really clean. Whereas you look at Union Pacific or something like that, the CEOs and so forth have changed a number of times. There have been some pretty dodgy things going on in the past, and one time I think it was Union Pacific, but I can't remember. There was one of the railroad companies way back in the past. They tried merging, failed, separated, and a little bit later on they tried merging again. And another one that the story I always tell, which I always enjoy, is the Aegis Topeka Santa Fe. Southern Pacific Santa Fe. In fact, Amtrak Lover just mentioned it. The Southern Pacific Santa Fe is one of my favourite stories. It shouldn't paint so fast, really. Brilliant. Yeah, they tried to be so clever by painting the stuff up with the red and yellow Kodachrome, and then painting the Southern Pacific trains to the SP part of delivery and the Santa Fe trains to the SF part of delivery, with the goal being that once the merger went through, they would then combine them and just paint the missing bit on, and then the merger was rejected, and so they had to. How embarrassing must that be? Alright, we're coming up to a 40 limit and the peak of this rise. If I find that document that I put together, I will try and put it on the Facebook page. Oh, we've reached the summit! Good job there was no orange juice in there, or I'd have just wrecked it. The other thing that I found out, which surprised me, was that there was Southern Pacific Railroad, there was also Southern Pacific something or other, Transport or something like that, and then so you had 2 Southern Pacifics. The original Southern Pacific was bought by Denver and Rio Grande, and then branded themselves as Southern Pacific Railroad, the one that we're familiar with, which is actually Denver and Rio Grande. But of course, Denver and Rio Grande, who knows who Denver and Rio Grande are? So they rebranded themselves as the railroad everyone recognised, and became the Southern Pacific Transportation, which I just thought was really interesting. And of course, that ultimately moved with that merged with Union Pacific. Cotton Belt, yeah, because Cotton Belt had the same livery for a while, didn't they? I noticed a number of Cotton Belt trains, locos, had the bloody nose livery. I'll go in trouble for that. Can't call it bloody nose livery. It's the grey and red livery. Nice scene around here. So I'm on the dynamics now, managing the speed. Cotton Belt was part of the SP system, just doing that. Okay. I did look into all this. It was probably a couple of years ago now when I looked into all of this. It was fascinating. It really, really was. What's the thoughts on Bruno getting back into the ring? You know what? If his doctor says it's okay, then I don't know. Who am I to say he's too old? What cars are we hauling, Nuclear Miner? Everything. This is a manifest train. Let's have a. Shall we have a train whiz by? Auto racks, hoppers, free bay, box cars, reefers, more box cars, more reefers. Cheers, Tyron 1. Gondolas, tanks. 4-bay hoppers, 3-bay hoppers, more hoppers, more hoppers, more tanks, different kind of tanks, boxes, more reefers, more boxes, 2-bay hoppers, that's different. Oh, they were coil cars. Apologies. Exeter HMS. One suggestion I would offer is if you're in the cab like this. Oh, good, we've got the high ball. If you're in the cab like this, make sure the cab light's turned off, because on the Sherman Hill locos, the updated ones, they start with the cab light on and it massacres the frame rate. It doubled the frame rate on my machine when I turned the cab light off. Strat Shadow landing at London City. Yeah, that's an interesting experience because they land nose down. They kind of have to wait till they're nearly at the airport and then dive bomb the wrong way. Alright, let's cut the dynamics. We're in a 55 now, we can let the train coast down the hill. They also have to, when they take off from London City, I was on a flight out of London City going to Ireland, and it was in one of the BAE 146s, one of the sort of the standard aircraft for them, because the BAE 146 was designed for London City, as I understand it. And so we're standing on the at the beginning of the runway, and the pilot's got the brakes on. He winds their engines up to full, and then lets them go, and they go tearing down the runway. Suddenly all the brakes slam on, and he turns around, goes back to the beginning, and has another go. It's just like, did you not get up enough speed? Don't panic, that red light wasn't for me. Shadow Wolf, do I like the horseshoe curve? To be honest, there are no American low routes I don't enjoy. They're all good fun. They've all got their unique challenges. But yes, I do like the horseshoe curve. One of the things I like about the horseshoe curve is because it's a 4-track main line, people like Steve Van Epps have been able to create some epic scenarios where you've just got hundreds of trains all over the place. The whole thing is just so vibrant. Cheers, Etons8. Thanks for joining. See you tomorrow. Yeah, Lord BT, I'd like to get out and do some rail fanning in America. But when I went to, because my wife's American, we went to Tennessee to visit the father-in-law, and a really good time actually. And I got to see my first American train. I've been to America several times, but never actually made the effort to go and do some rail fanning, and I managed to drag a pair of them, my father-in-law and my wife, because basically he had to take me around everywhere. And yeah, I got to see I got to see an SD40-2, which is good, some ES44ACs, some SD70s, a bit of a variety. Got to see some good stuff actually, all Norfolk Southern, given that that's what you get in Knoxville. But it sort of suits me because what I really like about trains is sort of the impressiveness of them, if you like, how much presence they have, a train, and obviously that's much bigger in American train because they're bigger and heavier, and louder. Put the dynamic brakes on a bit more now. We're on a steeper grade. We seem to be beating it though, it says. More. I've been on the Boston T. I don't know if that counts. It's one of those things that I really want to do. It's one of those retirement things. It's just spend 6 months touring America in an RV or something. Go and see lots of stuff. Make the time to go and see it. Got 2 kids, so going to America at the moment is ridiculously expensive. Cheers, Jeff. Thanks for joining. Ed, you can actually find out what your delay is without having to measure it. If you go to the bottom right of the window, there's a little cogwheel. You click that and then go to show video settings or video stats or something like that. And when that comes out, you can see what the delay from broadcaster is. last time when we went out to Tennessee. I think we ended up spending just not much change out of £4 just on the flights. It's very fortunate that Richard and his wife were able to are in a position that they can look after us. Yeah, it worked out. If you averaged it out, at not much shy of £1,000 a seat. Cheers, Strat Shadow. Thanks for joining. His thing is, even though one of the kids is 7 at the time, possibly was she 7, possibly even younger. Still needs a full seat. There's no discount. Oh, 45, didn't see that. Is there dynamics to bring it in? No. Put some air in. Made me work as well for my stay. Yeah, I know, you probably would have. I don't doubt that at all, Dave. Okay, it's not mine. Okay. Let's get the brakes recharged. Takes a while, they're still on. They haven't come off yet. Brakes are off and now we're screaming up again. Just hold it down under 45 until we get to that 55 limit. Front half of the train is in now. High ball still. Well, 2/3 of the way to 55. Should be alright. We should be alright. Limit brakes off, we're in the 55, let's coast up. Dynamics on, just gently again, get them wound up. a little bit of air in, so we're not relying entirely on the dynamic brakes. Cancel Minecraft and play ATX. I don't know how playing truck sim would sit with everybody at work, that's the problem. I will make inquiries though. I've got a steering wheel upstairs. I'm not cancelling Minecraft. Don't be silly. I'm certainly going to get American Truck Sim and play it myself. Alright, we're going to drop to 45 coming up, so I'm going to increase the air. Yeah, Ron makes a good point. If you overplay a workshop scenario and you rate it down, or at least if you don't rate it up, then leave a comment and say why. Yeah, not long to wait now. Waiting for the brakes to actually come off, and then I can reapply a small amount of air once everything's recharged. Brake cylinder's emptying up slowly. Ori Main 1 West, 5.8 miles. We're actually not far from the end now. Hi there, Nick. Right, so I'm going to put a little bit of brake on. That'll do. That way we're not relying entirely on the dynamics. Yeah, same gauge over here, Lord BT50. It's just the loading gauge is different. We've got a much tighter loading gauge. Cheers, Football Train Crash. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you tomorrow. I think if Challenger ran through the UK, it would destroy every station it went through because of the loading gauge. Loading gauge is essentially the bit around the train, so it's how wide the train can be, what its overhang is, and all of the rest of it. So the gauge of the track is just where the wheels are. The loading gauge is then all the stuff around the train. That means that when it goes into a tunnel or it goes into a platform, if you don't damage the platform, or it's too far away from people have to leap too far. So you've got standard loading gauges. Distance between the wheels and horse-drawn carriages. Yep, absolutely correct. They all started with horse-drawn carriages and went from there. That's my understanding as well. Because for a while there were no locomotives. You had wagons on rails pulled by horses, and they were made by the same people that made the horse-drawn carts in the first place, so why make them to different dimensions? Someone once told me a story, a loading gauge story, that when they were testing, I think it was the one, I want to say 150s, but I don't know for sure. One of the original sprinters. When they were testing the original sprinters, they brought them into Ipswich, and they brought this thing in, which is on a curve. So it's on a curve like this, and they brought this thing in and stopped it. And they got out. And they're like, "Oh, that's not bad. We're doing all right." And the idea is this was a loading gauge test before they did it with cleverer means. They just drive the train across the route and see what happened. And so they pulled into Ipswich, and they said, "Yep, good so, good so." The thing they were worried about was more the tunnel, because just next to Ipswich is a tunnel, and this was before they did the lowering, when they dug out the bottom of the tunnel and made it bigger. So they got into Ipswich, and they're like, "Excellent, that's good so far." And they went to pull away, and they realised the engine had stopped. Right, you'll be crossing over and entering the cut-off of Bury. Crossover speed is 30 miles an hour. Okay, so got a little more brake on. Yeah, so they realised when they got into the 150 that the engine had stopped, and so they pressed the start button and couldn't get it working again. When they looked around outside, they realised that the stop button, the engine stop button that's on the outside, was actually, so this is the platform. The engine stop button was hard up against the platform. And they couldn't get the loco moving again. They had to get another loco to come and pull it out the platform to free up the button that was rubbing against the platform. Press the button, and then having released the button, they could then start the loco and drive it again. And that's one of the reasons that you now see on locos. They've got big metal bars around the off button, so that if that ever happens again, the loco is pushed away from the platform. I need to do the Chicago route. Yeah, James, I need to get that added in some point. Let's cut the dynamic brake, cut the air. Essentially what it is that the loco was actually slightly out of loading gauge for that platform, or the platform was slightly out of loading gauge, which meant that they had to, if it hadn't been out of loading gauge, let's say the platform was a bit further away from the track, then it wouldn't have been a problem. But curves were a commonplace for being out of loading gauge if they hadn't measured it correctly. So in this instance, yeah, so they had to find it. They had to fix it. .9 miles. Layer in the system. Why is there an engine stop button on the outside of a bus? Because what if you can't get into the engine to turn the key off? Or what if there's a problem with the key because it's snapped in the... if you've got a fire going on inside the bus, you need somewhere, a way you can separate from it to be able to cut the engine if necessary. Finding a loco to pull it out must have been easier said than done, given the sprinters don't know buffer and screw couplers. Well, it wouldn't have been too bad, to be honest, so we just passed double yellow, because of the fact they were right next to a yard, and so they could have just pushed it out. That's actually quite fortunate track work in the area it stopped. What's the matter, Complopper Mal? Google Chrome logged me on without wanting it. Oh dear. Bury Main 1 West is coming up. Soldier Summit is a fantastic route, isn't it? Lovely too. Let's have a good look at the dash, shall we? Yeah, good to carry on going. I don't need to stop at Bury, Mr. Train Cow, but I have got a crossing coming over, and I've got the brakes set on medium difficulty, which means that we don't mess about. Couple up if you're using Windows 10, I thoroughly recommend Edge. On my tablet, on my Surface tablet, Edge has just proven to be an amazing browser. Really, really good. Which is not something I honestly thought I'd ever say. But other than access to Chrome and to Google sites, I'm finding Edge to be a better browser these days. Right, looks clear for the crossover up here. Speed limit is 30. Brakes aren't coming on. Your local railfan, yeah, I'm familiar with the 14L, but I've been gassing and not looking for whistle boards and so forth, so... Let's get some dynamics on to give us a hand slowing down. Franca's Faces and BTTV. Alright then. I didn't know whether anyone would want them. I'll go on at them. Elsas 6768, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. There you go, I've added it. Should work now, cop. Alright, 2.6 miles to our stop. Right, brake system is recharged, that's always a good place to start. Let's get a minimal brake application on. Alright, I have a Q DVLA coming up the Greeley line and we're holding you at the Bury Cullowby signal. Bring your head end to a stop short of the signal and await further clearance. Dispatch out. 2 miles to our stopping point. .9 miles. Yellow, which means the next signal is where we're stopping. Oh, don't say that, Ed. Don't say we haven't had a fail yet. I'm saying that for you. I think what Ed actually meant to say was that we need some Dutch DLC. That's far less inflammatory than saying we haven't had a fail yet. A different version of the one with the blockish things. I don't know what you mean, top block amount. Ed suggested putting it over the, let me move it now, he suggested putting it over there. Words to that effect. Perhaps making it a little smaller. How about that? What does everyone think about that? Is that better or worse? I feel like an optician now. Another whistle board. There's Mori cut off coming up now. Oh, blocks. Yeah, I know the one you mean. There you go. How's that? Make it a little bit bigger. Right, type something. There's a chat in the top left corner. So what do you think of what I've done now? I've made it bigger. I can certainly read it. don't want to release the brakes because that'll just be a pain. What does everyone think of that? If I could resize it so it fits over the map. Some things shrink the boxes so it doesn't cut the top box off. Let's just scroll off. I could change the dimensions of it. Hold on. Okay. We're almost up to Borry. Bring it up to the signal, which is just up here. I'm quite happy with that. Hey, Carfreak1, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. If you lot prefer it down the bottom left like that, I'm quite happy with that. As you say, it gets it out of the view. Let me move it to the top left of the screen. No, Dave. Alright, fill up the brake cylinder with air. Where we gently roll through a red light. The one with or without the flag? No, with, I think. Yeah, with. Well done. While we wait for QDVLA to clear, we might... Apparently we're not going to wait for me to say that one. But that's fine. We finished it. Speeding 12 times. That's not bad. I'm not going to complain too much. I was just trying to take it easy. We weren't speeding too bad, more than a couple of miles an hour at any one time. Right. That's it, folks. All done. Thanks very much for watching. The names are virtually impossible to read. Are they? Oh, they are a bit awkward, aren't they? Let's have a quick look, see what else I can do to improve that. Now's as good a time as any to mess about and see what we can change. There's not really an awful lot I can do to change that. If your name is in that colour, then that's what it'll do. Try to make the boxes fit over the map. Well, that's about the best I can do for making the boxes fit over the map. I could make the thing a bit deeper. So we'll see more on the screen at once. And set the font a bit bigger, eh? Okay. I can do that. See how that is. We're getting somewhere. Good night, Jeep fan. I guess we'll see how that one goes down tomorrow. Yeah, I know, I see what you're saying, Ed. Unfortunately, I've got no control over the names, which is a pain. I can't even make the boxes solid black. I can only make, that is the blackest they can be. Right, we'll see how we get on with it tomorrow. Right. Thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate taking your time to take a watch. I will see you tomorrow at the usual time, 9:30, and we'll have some more fun. Hopefully I'm going to try and do the Steam controller special tomorrow. Dave, you've just sent me a screenshot. Don't know what you're sending it to me for. I've got it. I look really cheerful. Is that what you're getting at? Good night, everybody. I'll catch you on Skype. Dave will be there for a minute. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.